A national organisation which promotes cycling, Bicycles Network Australia, says bike share schemes require significant capital investment up front in order to succeed. But the network spokesman Nathan Besh says feasibility studies and local government leaders need to have foresight and look at breaking even financially in the medium term.
For every dollar that you spend on cycling infrastructure, you get between $4 and $5 back in terms of benefit. You spend $1 on the roads for cars, you get $2 back. So you are spending money for cyclists, but you're taking them off the road, you're easing the road congestion, huge benefits to health. So every dollar you spend on cycling and cycling infrastructure gives you back so much more.
The Victorian government has provided $5.5 million for the public bicycle hire scheme in Melbourne. Ironically, it's being operated by the state's private motoring organisation, the Royal Automobile Club of Victoria. Gordon Oakley is the club's member and motoring services manager. He says its involvement in the Melbourne bike share scheme represents a diversification of business for the RACV.
Means, among other things, we manage customer service. We make sure that bikes are maintained and cleaned and available in the system. And we handle telephone calls from users who are looking for information about the program. And it's really consistent with the board's view that we should, as an organisation, move from motoring to mobility. And mobility encompasses not just cars and roads, but bikes and public transport.
Melbourne Bike Share currently comprises 450 bright blue bikes and 50 docking stands which offer bikes for rent for 30 minutes to several hours. The bike hire stations are located in a radius from Melbourne Zoo and the University of Melbourne in the north of the city, Alfred Hospital and South Melbourne in the south, the Docklands Stadium in the west, to the Melbourne Cricket Ground in the east. Gordon Oakley says the RACV has invested an undisclosed amount in Melbourne Bike Share, which the club hopes to recoup within 3 years.
So that means that we put in a little bit more in the early years, and hopefully we'll be making small profits in the years 3 and 4. So this year, 2010-2011 year, we expect we're budgeting to make a small loss, but about break even in the next year, and make small profits in the following 2 years.
Concerns have been raised about the safety of increased bicycle usage on busy inner city streets. However, Bicycle Victoria spokesman Gary Brennan says as higher rates rise towards what he calls a critical mass, cycling becomes safer.
That's because the more bikes you get on the road, the more safe it gets, because car drivers and other road users adapt their behaviour. So now that we've got a lot of bikes on the road in inner Melbourne, drivers have adapted and they're much more accommodating, and there's much less conflict on the road than there used to be.
Like elsewhere in Australia, Victoria has a law making it compulsory for cyclists to wear helmets. Gary Brennan thinks this is only a small factor in limiting usage of the hire bikes.
Obviously, they are a minor factor because sometimes someone will on a road and they won't have a helmet. Okay, that's going to reduce the level of use, but it's probably not a dramatic difference because most people who ride a share bike around the world in every city that has the system, these trips are on the whole regular trips. They're planned. So if that means you need to take a helmet with you, then that's what people do. So it's not as if there are a lot of spontaneous, unplanned trips, and in that case, you could well have a helmet with you.
Gordon Oakley from the RACV believes otherwise, but he's expecting a positive impact from the recent introduction of low-cost helmets, now selling at about 30 outlets in the city at a government-subsidised price of $5. Mr Oakley says visitors to Melbourne could be among the biggest customers of the safety-accredited helmets.
So that's intra-state, interstate and international tourists who arrive in Melbourne, see the bikes and either, obviously wouldn't think to bring a helmet if they're coming down from Shepparton or Sydney or Brisbane for the day.
Promoters of the large-scale bike hire schemes in Australia are hoping that eventually they'll result in a shift from a car culture to a bike culture, with health benefits for the riders as well as environmental benefits. Local authorities in the city of Portland in the US state of Oregon say such a shift has been gradually occurring there. Portland's bicycle coordinator Roger Geller says the city has seen a 6-fold increase in the use of bikes. He admits this has taken a decade to achieve, but says Portland has not wanted to rush the introduction of its bike share program.
I think the main reason is that the program is somewhat expensive, and when we think about what we could do with that money instead in terms of building facilities, we've always opted for that. And then mostly I think that we want to understand how to do it correctly in Portland. So when we launch it, and I believe we will, but when we do, we want to make sure that we've got it just right. And so we're happy to let other cities around the world, as well as within the U.S., many cities within the U.S. are advancing bike share and just observing and seeing how they work.
High rates in Melbourne bike share have been growing by about 35% a month since the scheme was launched in June. Operators are hoping the hiring rate will increase to 4 to 5 hirings of each bike per day from the current rate of around 1 hiring per day.